that we were used to. Oh,
No, that's okay. Keep on talking. It's just that sometimes, people forget to record, so I'm recording it now.
oh, okay.
Hi, Keith. How are you?
Hello. Good to see
Aloha,
you.
Keith.
We're waiting for others. Is that a real background, or is it your office, or is that
Me?
like yeah,
Yeah,
is
it's
it
real.
more? Oh,
It
it's
looks
real.
real.
It almost seems like, right? Like a backdrop.
The backdrops are good these days.
I know, especially if you're trying to hide, a dying plant or something.
I'm
You
A
have
like,
a good
messy.
plant there.
I have a whole bunch of boxes in the back of mine. You're gonna see.
Oh,
Because I'm blocking it, but there they are.
yeah. So I worry about mine because there's like that like square or whatever triangle, and it makes me look like I have a halo.
Mm.
Seems appropriate.
I don't know about that. Some people might beg to disagree. Okay, I'm gonna.
That's as much of the mess you're gonna see in my office.
I'm having people now.
So
getting
Keith,
into-
I'll just be flexible on however you want to divvy up the stuff. I don't know if you actually replied to my email.
Oh, I think I missed it.
Okay.
I'll never slouch as soon as my grit gets out your door.
I'm gonna just mute people, folks. Okay, you can unmute when it's your turn to share. I'm just gonna have Keith and Dion be the have their open mics. Aloha, Denise. What's the weather like on the Big Island? Hi, Claire.
Good morning.
Morning. How are you?
Fantastic and fabulous on this beautiful Monday morning.
Hello, Denise. Good morning. Oh, you're
Rainy in Hilo.
muted. Yeah.
You can't hear me?
No, now we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Earlier.
it's kind of rainy in Hilo.
How often do you get to the Kona side?
Not as much as I should.
I know, but thankfully we have that well, it's been a while now, but that Inouye Highway.
Yeah, it's quick.
Correct. It used to be a lot longer. Okay, we're chair, maybe a couple more minutes,
Okay, sounds good.
just so we can accommodate everybody.
And Dion, yeah, I'm good if you want to facilitate those three. That would be great.
Just trying to
People
help.
get, people get tired of hearing my voice too.
I want to welcome some of our board members who are here. Dane, Wicker, Rosella. Thank you for coming. Hi, Lay.
Aloha.
You didn't have much of a weekend, did you?
It was all worth it.
Yeah, good numbers.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great attendance today.
Mm-hmm. So topic. I'm waiting for like Chantel and Harrison because they're going to be presenting.
She should literally be on like any second.
Okay, Thanks, Claire. Hi, Carla.
Good morning.
Morning. There's great interest on this topic, as you can tell, Chair.
Aloha, Bennett. Thank you so much for having me. That's Rosella.
Hi, Rosella. How are
Hi.
you? Welcome.
Thank you. I just got back from vacation, so I will have to jump at 11 a.m. I'm sorry if I
No
can't.
worries. No
entire
worries. Yeah, we appreciate whatever you can, expend. There's Chantel.
It's my privilege. Thank you so very much.
Thank
And thank you for
you.
being so gracious.
Thank you. Thank you. And Alani Kawai is in the house. I don't see, so folks, if you can mute yourselves in the meantime until such time that you would be able to share. So please mute. Richard can you turn on your camera? There you go. Okay, so Carrie is there. Davin is Harrison joining us very shortly, or is he here already? I don't see him.
Harrison won't be joining, but
Oh.
Raymond will be
Presenting.
presenting on Harrison's behalf.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Okay, I think Chair, I'm gonna continue on admitting people, but please go ahead.
And Bennett, thank you for handling logistics on this. I know you're handling a lot yourself, so much appreciated. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you.
Morning.
Oh, sorry. Good morning.
Good morning, sorry. I know.
I also came in early this morning, so well into the day.
This is
But
afternoon
good
already for
morning.
you. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining today's special projects committee meeting. We do have a full agenda, so we'll jump right into it. I'd like to call our meeting to order. It is 10:02 a.m. My name is Keith DeMello, chair of this committee, and I would like to also acknowledge the presence of our vice chair, Dion Dizon, is with us today, who will be helping facilitate part of the discussion a little bit later. This is a public meeting under the open meeting law. The committee members and public guests are viewing in Zoom, and we have staff at the Department of Labor and Industrial Relations office, room number 317, in case members and guests wish to meet at an on-site location. To start the meeting and to document in the minutes, I will ask members and guests to introduce themselves with name and organization. Please be mindful that the chat box should be disabled. Actually, I believe that it might still be, oh no, is that the AI meeting notes? Okay, got it. And yeah, please remember to unmute yourself when you introduce yourself.
Would you like to maybe have Dion start, and then maybe Dion, you can pass it on to someone else.
Thank you.
I'm Dion Dizon, IBEW Local Union 1186, Vice Chair for this committee. And I'll pass it off to Irish Barber.
Aloha, Kakahiaka, Irish Barber, business representative for IATSC Local 665. I'll pass it off to Claire Carroll. Or Dion, you want to do the rest?
Aloha, everyone. Good morning. I am the one stopper at Maui American Job Center and also Maui County Business Resource Center. Nice to be here. And I will hop it on to Dane.
Hello, good morning, Dan Wicker, Deputy Director at TBED. Pass it on to Denise.
Denise Pacheco, Department of Labor Workforce Development Division in Hilo, and I will pass it on to Carla.
Carla Kurokawa with Alulike. I will pass it on to Davin Kawamura.
Good morning, Devin Kalmar from Oahu Workforce Development Board. And I'll pass it on to Raymond.
Good morning, everyone. Raymond Duong, Oahu Workforce Development Board. And I'll pass it on to Lei.
Aloha, everyone. Lena Ala Nakamura, Work Hawaii Administrator, American Job Center Hawaii on Oahu. And I will pass it on to Crystal Garrett.
Hello everyone, good morning. I'm Crystal Garrett with the Work Hawaii Youth Program.
Hey, Crystal, we're having some trouble hearing you. Just a little soft.
All right, better, sorry.
Perfect.
All right, there we go. Aloha, good morning. I'm Crystal Garrett with the Work Hawaii Youth Program. Good to be here today. I will pass it off to Jason Hidalgo. Mahalo.
Morning, everybody. Jason Hidalgo with the Work Hawaii Youth Program as well, Career Pathway Advisor. I'll go ahead and pass it on to another of my colleagues, Whitney Robinson.
Good morning, Whitney Robinson, Career Pathway Advisor for Work Hawaii Youth Program. Law.
And how about Nalani Bruin? Did we hear from you?
Sure, Nalani Bruin, the Director for the Office of Economic Development for the County of Kauai, and I'm going to pass it off to Doug Adams.
Thank you, Nalani. Aloha, Doug Adams, Mayor's designee to the Workforce Development Council for the County of Hawaii, and I will pass it off to Rosella.
Thank you, Doug. Aloha, everyone. Rosella Gardashone, otherwise known as Rosella G. And I am the Director of Human Resources here at the Marriott King Kamehameha's Kona Beach Resort. I'm also the chair for the Hawaii County Workforce Development Board. And I will pass it on to, let's see here, Whitney.
We heard from Whitney. I see that we have some folks in the conference room 310. How about if you introduce yourselves?
Okay, Kerry Miyashiro. I am Workforce Development Council Chair, Sector Strategies, Career Pathways.
Hi, I'm Richard. I'm an EDPSO intern. I'm just assisting Bennett with the Zoom meeting here.
Tech specialist.
Chantel, did we hear from you?
Not yet. Thank you, Chair. Chantel Rowland, Executive Director for the Maui County Workforce Development Board. And I will punt it over to Kevin Aki.
Good morning, everyone. Kevin Aki Jr. with the County of Hawaii and the Hawaii County Workforce Development Board. I will pass it off to the other Kevin.
I'm assuming it's me. Good morning, everybody. Kevin Kimizuka. I'm the branch manager for the Workforce Development Division on Maui. And I will pass it on to Leal Diaz.
Thank you. Hi, good morning, everyone.
I'm Leah Diaz. I'm the administrator of the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, DVR.
And at this point,
I don't know how to call on anybody because I
I
joined
think,
late.
yeah, I think Matt hasn't introduced himself yet.
Hi, everyone. Matt Stevens with the Hawaii Workforce Funders Collaborative.
Anyone else?
Hello,
Lisa.
everyone.
Oh,
Tui
there's
Scanlon, IATSC Local 665 President and State Workforce Development Council Youth Services Committee Chair.
Aloha,
Thanks.
everyone. Kathy Lederer with the Hawaii State AFL-CIO, and I'm on Oahu Workforce Development Board.
Michelle Rego, County of Kauai, Office of Economic Development.
Hi, aloha, everyone. Mark Menard, Business Services Coordinator at the American Jobs Center here on Oahu.
Aloha, everyone. Lee Williams Naiole, American Jobs Center, Adult Manager.
David, I saw you joined.
I'm trying again. Hello, I'm David Rodriguez, State Equal Opportunity Officer for the Department of Labor and Industrial Relations.
Is there anybody else who has not introduced themselves?
Aloha, I'm Nisa Tokunaga with the American Job Center's Youth Service Center Manager.
Aloha. Tambra Miller Garcia, Wheelwa Adult Side, and the rest of our team. Who else wants to go? Aloha. Aloha.
And Roxana Kuna from the Work Hawaii Youth Program Supervisor.
Andrea Gaines, one-stop operator for the AJC on Oahu.
I'm Dan Miyamoto, Hawaii Department of Education, Adult Education, Family Diversity Act.
I think that might be it, Chair. And Benetni Salucha, Executive Director.
Thank you very much. As noted, very high attendance today. So that's very great to see. So for our first item on the agenda is approval of minutes. So please review the minutes from our prior meeting, namely the April 17, 2024 meeting. The minutes were posted to the website earlier and were distributed to our routing list. I'll give the group a couple of minutes to review, and then I'll entertain a motion to approve when you're ready. And as soon as you're ready, or anyone is ready, may I have a motion to approve the minutes from the April 17 meeting?
Chair, so moved, Kerry. Miyashiro.
Okay, the motion was made by Carrie, and is there a second for approval?
Hi Keith, it's Rosella, I second.
Okay, motion was seconded by Rosella. Are there any amendments or discussion regarding the minutes? If none and hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
If there are any members wishing to vote no, please state at this time. Are there any abstentions? Okay, with that, the minutes for the April 17th meeting have been approved. Now, most of today's special projects meeting will be devoted to the subject of the American Jobs Center, with job centers throughout the state. For the benefit of the public who may not be as familiar with the topic, the American Job Centers, or AJCs, as we often refer to it or refer to them, was established under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. They serve as vital hubs for workforce development because they offer an array of services for both job seekers and employers. We have several interesting presentations this afternoon. Our first set of presenters are from the local area Workforce Development Board. We will hear from them about the state of their American Job Centers and the funding that supports these job centers. We very much thank them for their attendance. The objective today is to hear from them so that we may take appropriate action to support what they do. We will start with the Oahu Workforce Development Board, and here to present is Harrison Kuranishi, its Executive Director. He will be followed by Chantel Rowland, the Executive Director of Maui Workforce Development Board. Then she will be followed by a representative from the Big Island, hopefully from the Big Island Workforce Development Board. And last but not least, following that will be the Kauai representative from there on the AJC. So first off, Harrison.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'll be presenting in place of Harrison due to he couldn't make the meeting today. So I'm here to report the expenditures as of the program year 2022. So for PY 20, sorry. Now under the weather. For PY 2022, the Oahu has been allocated funds of 4,711,403. And out of the total amount, currently our expenditure stands at 2,475,268.45. So as forecasted, we're forecasting to return $2 million back to Workforce Development Division as of June 30, 2024. And about 43% will be returned back to WDD. We also received a Quest grant back in June 2nd of 2023. The Quest grant is not, it doesn't end until September 15. So we still have some time to spend on the funds. But as currently stands right now, we're spent $874,081. So roughly about 32% that we spent. And we just got off the talks with Carol and Layla that they're planning to extend the contract another year. So it's gonna last until September 15 of 2025 instead of 2024. Yeah, so we still have time to spend about 1.9 million one more year. That's all for my case. Does anyone have any question regarding expenditures?
And seconding that, are there any questions for Raymond at this time? We will also be discussing or going a little bit deeper in discussion a little bit later. If not, we'll invite Chantel to present on behalf of Maui.
Thank you, Chair. And may I share screen?
Yes.
Can you see? Can
Yeah.
you see my slideshow? Okay.
Yes.
So PY 22 recap of Maui County. So we were allocated for Maui County for the administrative pool funds, $122,193, youth $353,965, adult $419,589, dislocated worker $326,191 for the total amount of $221,938. The report period for June 1st, 2023 to current, this was the most recent report that was submitted. $58,785.45 for admin, youth $247,254.80, adult $163,826.01, and dislocated worker $118,842.03. So we spent about 47%, so a little over 47% for LAC, almost 70,000 of our youth, 70% of our youth program, 38.84% of adult, and 36.16% for dislocated worker. And in estimating for our June report, that is due by the end of this month, looking at personnel and program services and training, after all that, we would be returning 59,000 for LAC, 89 for youth, 238,000 for adult, and 227,000 for dislocated worker. Circumstances to consider: our subrecipient, of course, we had some staffing transition and we weren't fully spending down our personnel dollars. As Raymond mentioned, Quest came in, and that was another $1.1 million that was factored into our formula funds. So, and then in addition to all of the national disaster funds that Maui was receiving during our wildfires, we have all these pots of funds that we're all trying to spend down. So that was definitely something to consider when we're trying to spend down our formula funds as well. And that's all I have.
Well, thank you, Chantel. We appreciate the presentation as well. Are there any questions for Chantel? Again, we'll go into this a little bit later, but if there are any immediate questions. If not, we'll move on. Bennett, was there somebody prepared from
Right. Kevin. So go ahead,
Thank you very
Kevin.
much, Chair. Permission to share screen.
Yes, please.
Okay. For our WIOA Title I balances, we received a total of $1,647,337, and Quest totaled $965,600. Just as a forewarning, these are only calculations that doesn't include the month of June and May. We're currently waiting for our WIOA fiscal person to return, which should be this Saturday. This Thursday. For program year 22, between the state and county of Hawaii, our balance is $37,739 for administration, $98,464 for adult, $44,362 for dislocated worker, youth $265,101, and Quest $965 $600. These are funds that we currently have that haven't been contracted or procured out to any service provider. For program year 22, balance between the County of Hawaii and our procured service provider, Goodwill Industries of Hawaii. Administration, 0. Adult, 144,193. Dislocated worker, 56,886. And youth, 71,242. Sorry, I also included all of our report measures for this report. Is that okay, Bennett? Okay. For WIOA adult, our projected performance measures for PY23 is 60% employment rate for the second quarter, 65% employment rate for the fourth quarter, 6,800 median earnings during the second quarter, 58,000 credential attainment or 58% credential attainment, 55% measurable skills gain. Dislocated worker, 71% employment second quarter, 76% employment fourth quarter, 8,500 median earnings, 68% credential attainment, 57% measurable skill gains. For WIOA youth performance for PY23, 68% employment for the second quarter, 62% employment for the fourth quarter, 4,300 median earnings, 65% credential attainment, and 53% measurable skill gains. For our WIOA PY23 participant estimations, this is as of November 2023, last year when we submitted our report to the state of Hawaii. Our estimation determined through several factors: service provider allocations, the sum of new participants, and those carried over and past data. The adult program for this program year expects 304 participants, 168 carried over, 136 new enrollments. Dislocated worker expects 184 participants in total, with 68 carried over and 160 new enrollments. The youth program is an estimated 85 carried over and 113 new participants. This includes 81 in-school youths, 36 carried over, 45 new enrollments, and 115 out-of-school youths, 42 carried over, and 73 new enrollments. For our last fiscal year for PY22, the adult program enrolled 40 participants, with active participants currently equaling 239. Dislocated worker had enrolled 9 participants for the PY22 year, with an active participant count of 50. For the WIOA Title I Youth Program, out of school, we've had 16 new participants enrolled with our service provider, and they currently have 48 active participants in total. For in-school, there were 0 participants that were enrolled for PY22, with 7 active participants currently. For the WIOA Title I Adult Dislocated Worker contracted amounts, we were given $615,398, and the contracted amount that we had awarded to Goodwill Industries of Hawaii was $516,934. For WIOA Dislocated Worker, we were allocated $277,263 and contracted $232,901 for a total of $749,835. For the WIOA Title I Youth contracted amounts, we've had a total of $589,942. Youth out of school was $73,116, and in school was $29,725. I'll explain about this later, but there was a transition issue when we had transitioned as the fiscal entity and the oversight for the Hawaii County Workforce Development Board. In November, we had an emergency supplemental agreement for an additional $222,000 that was given to the procured service provider, Goodwill Industries of Hawaii. For the One Stop American Job Center, in total, we've had $14,774 to procure a one-stop operator, which we were unsuccessful in as we had attempted to procure 3 times during this past year. Unusual circumstances, the Hawaii County Workforce Development Board and the fiscal entity has transitioned to the County of Hawaii Research and Development. Staffing issues and transitions between the different departments within the county. The Hawaii County Workforce Development Board staff had issues with trying to create and procure for a service provider for the Quest program, change of executive directors for the Hawaii County Workforce Development Board, and low dollar amounts for the one-stop operator. How will we resolve these issues moving forward for PY23? These are 4 of the things that we're working towards, which is drafting and submitting requests for proposals early, working with our corporation counsel to set up proper drafts for the Hawaii County Workforce Development Board, meeting with the past workforce administration before the transition to research and development, and begin working on a written set of processes for future WIOA staff. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Kevin, and thank you for the detail. Are there any questions for Kevin at this time? If not, Bennett, if you could help me with the
Sure.
representative for Kauai.
Unfortunately, I got word from Adele Minera, who's the manager of WDD, that she will be on vacation during the time, and that did not give us enough time to put the statistics together and get it from other sources. So we're gonna push forward and perhaps circulate Kauai's numbers later on, Chair.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And we appreciate everyone who has been able to join us from each of the local areas. One of the responsibilities of the Workforce Development Council is the development and continuous improvement of the workforce development system in the state. Since the AJCs is the first line of defense, so to speak, for workforce development, it's important to focus our attention on them. So our committees, including the Special Projects Committee, our committee in particular was tasked to explore how to make the American Job Centers more accessible, more welcoming, and become known as valuable resources for job seekers and employers alike in their areas. So the primary focus of the upcoming roundtable discussions, and this is a bit of a unique activity for our committee, the purpose is to better understand the current state of our AJCs and the work that they're doing, identify the challenges that they face, special circumstances included, and explore any innovative solutions. One of the key areas that our committee would like to explore is how to increase visibility in our American Job Centers in the state. This is something that came up a few weeks ago in our council-wide training. This question came up, how can we better support the agencies in promoting themselves within their community? I did want to reassure everyone that we're not here to point fingers or critique. There are very real circumstances, and as noted, special circumstances that come up. This is really an exercise to learn from each other. And in other words, this is very much a safe place, and I hope we can continue to treat each other with respect, and it goes without saying that we should use appropriate language and such, and with that mutual respect and civil discourse that's so important to our system of government. So helping to facilitate me today, as mentioned earlier, will be our Vice Chair, Dion Dizon. And I believe, Dion, you're going to take the first couple of areas as part of or by way of an introduction. We'll lead with questions that were disseminated earlier. They are on the agenda. And what we'll do is we'll start by asking our local areas. Those are with us today to answer the first question. And we do have other stakeholders in the room, so anyone can pipe in. We do ask that you identify yourself whenever you do speak, so for our minutes, so that we could capture your insights for the record. But again, if we could give our local area representatives the first opportunity to respond to the questions. So from here, Dion, are
Thank
you
you.
able to
Yes.
take it?
So our first set of questions actually are regarding visibility and accessibility. And so under this, like Keith said, you already received these questions in advance, but we'll take them one at a time. And so the first one is, how do clients typically find out about your AJC? So either Raymond, Chantel, or Kevin, if you guys want to take a stab at these first before we open it up.
Yep. Hi, Vice Chair Chantel Rowland here. First is word of mouth by our current clients, our potential clients, and our partners, whether they're co-located there or they do rotation at the American Job Center. We do host hiring and resource fairs within our community. We did staff outreach when they're out going to different organizations, and then our website and social media.
Thank you.
Raymond Dong for the Oahu area. So like very similar to Chantel that we have job fairs. I believe we have one every month. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lei. At least one every month. Word of mouth. Outreach. We've been doing outreach to our eligible training providers, and I believe we went to outreach to library, affordable housing. I don't know if you want to add more, Lei.
Thank you, Raymond. Sure, I can add more in regards to outreach. Besides what Chantel and Raymond shared, I want to share that one of the innovative approaches to outreach is going out to the training providers and actually doing mass enrollments at their sites. For instance, and doing it on days that they're accessible. For instance, a few Saturdays ago, we went to the electricians union hall, where we had the potential to enroll, well, speak to about 37 new candidates that will be starting their the next cohort in August. Of those individuals, it looks like 17 potentially could qualify for our adult programs, and we ended up on site enrolling close to 10 individuals that day, with more individuals who we are working with one-on-one. Social media really has boosted our enrollments. And I wanted to share with all the counties, and you may know this already, but recently, a few months ago, we ran into a TEGL from DOL guidance letter that says WIOA funds can now be used for outreach, media outreach. So we took the opportunity to modify our budgets, which we're waiting for the board to approve, and that will enable us to stand up with one of our local contractors here in Oahu, a really specialized local media campaign. And I think that's a huge find. And yeah, we know through that kind of outreach, we'll be able to customize our messages and really get out there to those target populations that we need to uplift. And we haven't been able to do that because we don't have that mass net to get the word out like media or outreach can do, specifically commercials, such as what the Quest program has been able to do through the guidance and leadership of WDD.
Thank you. Kevin?
For the County of Hawaii's American Job Center, we're similar to Oahu and Maui, that our primary way of exposure to our community is through word of mouth. Word of mouth and staff outreach, that when they do attend job fairs or events hosted by other community members, usually they represent the American Job Center Hawaii, or they at least give them information about services that are offered there.
Thank you. And Lei, you started to touch on this a little bit, so I'm going to ask these last two questions in tandem. And if you don't mind answering first, and then for stakeholders who may have wanted to answer the first one, please pipe in, but I'm going to ask this first. Go ahead, Bennett.
Nalani Brun is from Kauai. We may actually ask her if you would like to ask her about the perspective. So even though they're not integral, they're not really in the weeds as far as like AJCs, but she works for the government, for the mayor's office as economic development director, and so she's pretty much plugged in as well. So you may want to ask her about Kauai, Vice Chair. Thank you.
I appreciate that. I wasn't aware like Kauai was in the room to speak to this. So Nalani, before I ask the second and third questions.
I have nothing on that first one. I think that we have put on job fairs at OED, and then we always invite WDD to come participate. And we're just starting to realize that we were kind of hurting their capacity that way. So we're now teaching them how to do job fairs. So, and we're happy to do that.
Thank you, Nalani. Sorry, didn't realize that. Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Vice Chair.
So Lei, the questions that I kind of wanted to start with you, because you started to touch on this. So what are the barriers to accessibility for individuals seeking services at your AJC? And the second part, how can we improve the physical and digital accessibility of our AJCs?
Yeah, thank you for asking. Barriers to accessibility, what comes to mind is lack of awareness about our location and services. And then the difficulty in obtaining some of the necessary documentation due to the funds, to WIOA requirements. And to both, we are addressing as follows. We're out there, and we recognize as an agency that we need to be where the customers are at. So being out in the community, we're at 10 libraries statewide, and as of the beginning of February until now, we have been able to encounter 525 different individuals. And that great partnership was because of Bennett's commitment to getting us out there this past year. So we're very grateful to that. And we know our continuous partnership with Bennett and the rest of the council will enable us to gain new insights so we can do much better. As far as the requirements, we embrace the need to be in compliance with WIOA. And so what we've made sure of in this past 8 months is that we don't ask for any additional information up front when we're doing the intake and eligibility, that we're staying just with what is needed to get them enrolled, right? And then through our engagement strategies, that's when we gather the rest of the information that is going to help us navigate our customers to getting their employment and educational goals done. So getting out there, being more visible, and making sure we just stay laser focused on what they need. We don't ask for any more other documentations. We don't put them through any more hoops. And just to share, we call those extra documents and hoops extra popsicle sticks. We don't ask for that. If you recall growing up, you had to create, when you were in elementary, that frame so you could put your picture in there and share it with your parents for Mother's Day or Father's Day. Well, that's what for us is what we are committed to doing. Just keep it with that 4 simple functional popsicle sticks or frames. Don't ask for them for anything more. Get all that extra information once they're enrolled. That's what keeps them engaged. That's what keeps them on the road to getting their goals met. Thank you.
Thank you. Chantel, Kevin, Raymond?
Yeah, Lay nailed it. It's meeting them where they're at, whether it's at the high school, doing enrollment there, or at UH. We are planning kind of like a back to school resource fair at UH next month, and hoping to increase enrollment during that event. Initially, we were concerned that we were going to lose foot traffic when we transitioned from Maui Mall to the County of Maui Service Center, which then put us up second floor above the DMV. But we do have a table. There's a lobby down below when individuals are waiting for their number to be called. And Kamalu can speak more to this. But we do have a table there. And when we're fully staffed, we want to have a physical presence down there and pointing individuals up to the American Job Center, because right now we're a little bit hidden. But Kamalu is down there, and I've always said you will hear her before you see her. Miss Aloha, will be pointing individuals up to the American Job Center. But that's for Maui. And Kamalu, if you want to add anything else, barriers to accessibility.
I think you hit it right on point, Chantel. You know, accessibility. We're here. I think it's more of the outreach of letting people know that we have American Job Center here on Maui. The outreach has been very big part of having continued clients come into American Job Center and knowing the services that we can provide, which is not very known among the general community, except by word of mouth. Thank you, Chantel.
I would like to add on for the barriers for accessibility for our AJC is that we've been told by board members and guests that our AJC are difficult to find because we're located at the 7th floor. And correct me if I'm wrong, Lei, that our landlord doesn't allow us to put sign American Job Center in the front entrance.
Yeah, thank you, Raymond, for your additional remarks. That we presently we are allowed to put signs, so we strategically have them placed when you enter from Costco side. We have a sign that we have by the double doors nearest to the entrance of the food court. And then we will have another sign that we're currently putting a new design together by the entrance where the job seekers come. Yeah, and most of our job seekers come to us by bus, so that will be on the Dole Street side. I also failed to mention that we did have a kiosk downstairs as of November of last year, but last month I had to make the decision to bring it down because we're so busy now with enrollments and recruitment that we can't spare that extra staff there for an 8-hour day. But the signs will have improved foot traffic. We also have the potential to there's an empty space downstairs. We have the potential to rent out that space, but I tell you what has really worked well for us is we have 4 designated recruiters, 2 on the youth side and 2 on the adult side, and they're out involved in all kind of community activities. But also besides the libraries, we're at the community courts that take place several times a month. Palama Settlement, again, thank you to Bennett We've been at Palama Settlement for the last few months, and we've actually been able to encounter 525 adults and or youth who go to Palama, part of their customer base there that we've been able to provide services for. So yes to you. We are located on the 7th floor, and we are responding in the way that we're out in the community, reaching more individuals than we ever have. And we're gonna keep on doing more. Thank you.
For Hawaii County, location has been a very big issue. We truly are the big island, as we only have one AJC on the east side, and we have no physical presence on the west, north, or southern side of our island. A primary way that people know about our job center is through word of mouth when staff and partner agencies such as WDD does outreach. But getting to us in a non-centralized location is rather difficult, as there is no nearest bus stop for the public transport near us. So people end up having to walk across a very busy highway that has many different cars and the different ports that you have to cross over to get to us. Another issue that we faced is not having a sign. We haven't had a sign on our American Job Center since we relocated there last year in February. Since about 6 months ago, our interim one-stop operator had made that happen and had gotten at least some visibility on the road when you're passing by or driving down the road.
Yeah, let me just also add briefly to Kevin's note. I'm glad he added that last part. We do have at least some. It is not on the main road. It is on the street that allows you to get into the parking lot for the building that contains the AJC for us. The other thing I would note is there are partners on the west side, and they indicate that they are available and are making themselves available with appointments for potential clients. But there is obviously still no full-scale satellite AJC that's on that side.
Thank you, Doug. Does anybody else want to have any comments to this first set of questions?
I have
sorry. Oh, sorry.
After you.
Sorry, Tui. Just for Kauai real quick, that I think our location, we're really lucky. We have a good location. It's surrounded by our partners, so they barely even have to come over. I think mostly our issue is, and it's so great to hear from everybody else to see what they're doing, but outreach is key right now. And so I think we're kind of missing extroverts is really what we're missing, extrovert type people. And maybe that's where we can help out, because we're starting as a county to look for other locations in towns much further away from central Lihue. And in that way, maybe we can assist in providing space for that kind of outreach in the places that we're going to end up at.
Thank you. Tui?
I was going to say one is just an offering and the other one is a question. I had heard previously through one of my colleagues, for those who don't know, IATSE, we work behind the scenes. We do like film, TV, live events and stuff. Well, one of my colleagues mentioned that for a while, Olelo had a program where they would create a commercial for free for an organization the first time. And let me see if I can find more resources and more information on that to bring to you, because that could potentially be something that saves a bunch of budget and gives you a little bit more overhead to play with, more runway. The question I had was, for our organization, on a grander scale, like on a national level, it may even be international, that our members have access to LinkedIn Learning as a distance learning at your own pace, fully remote, digital access granted just as a part of membership in our union. What, if any, are the remote courses or resources that participants can access purely remote if physical location is an issue. What are they, or are there any plans to initiate some sort of like online learning certificate kind program a la LinkedIn Learning or something to that effect?
I can comment a bit about that, as DBED in the past was nice enough to grant the different counties access to LinkedIn Learning accounts for up to 1 year. I know for Hawaii County, we were issued, and I have it right in front of me, we were issued 487 different licenses, and out of all of those, we had done outreach, every single job fair, flyers were given out for it. A lot of the different courses that participants had taken was in customer service, though. And a lot of it was our older generation. So we had paired with the college, or the college had paired with DBED to also provide them for people that didn't have computer access. They're also welcome to come to the American Job Center to have those as well. But yeah, it's something that we've tried in the past, and I would like to at least see that come back again, as it was really helpful for those learning or wanting to up their skills, I would say.
Copy that. Just as a follow-up, that one of the things that our Internationals Training Trust Fund does is they curate learning trees or learning paths specific to a craft skill set. Like there are ones that are just purely safety and informational, and others that actually culminate in a recognized certificate. So there's president and business agent or business representative learning career pathway, so that it's everything from computer basics to problem solving to team dynamics, things of that nature. And they curate these learning paths so that folks have, like, here's your foundational set, here's niche specific, here's stuff to do with your team, stuff to do with public speaking, stuff to do with decision making, things of that nature. And it's neither here nor there, but only to say, if it happens again, is there enough bandwidth with the staff that is currently in place to curate a learning path for folks that would access resources electronically?
I can speak a little bit on that. Michelle Rigo, County of Kauai. So DBED recently announced more training at Good Jobs Hawaii, and there's really specific tailored trainings in there. I'm personally signing up for, hopefully to make some side cash, but it's accounting. It's from Stage 32. So they're big in film and production and stuff like that, but specific tailored training where it's grant funded. So, and even if you don't have a computer, they will provide you a computer as well as internet access. So it's not only healthcare, it's more broad now, so which is really, really great.
Copy that. Thank you.
So I'll add something real quick. Well, actually, go ahead. Well,
Okay. Go ahead,
So I
Dion.
just wanted to add with respect to the question about like remote or online and then access, for computers, being that the AJCs have a partnership with the libraries actually, the public libraries offer Gale courses. So whether they lead to certification or whatnot, I think that is also another underutilized resource that people have access to. You have access to computers at the library. And so, there's that. And so I see a hand from Leah, but also Bennett. And then after this, I'm going to be quiet and I'll turn it over to Keith for the second set of questions, which we haven't touched yet. And so Bennett first, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. I love the interaction, particularly as we're exploring new ideas and initiatives, because there's somebody who said, if we keep doing what we're doing, we're going to keep getting the results that we're getting. And obviously, some of those numbers are certainly leave much to be desired. I think we can do better. So the idea about having some kind of pathway, TUI is very, I think, noteworthy. And perhaps it's a conversation amongst the executive director, because I think that type of initiatives may be difficult for, to be doing it by area at the local area level. I think we need to elevate that from a state level, and then perhaps maybe we can, if need be, we have to allocate and pick up, have the local areas divide some of those expenses that's related to that, the creation of that digital pathway amongst ourselves or amongst themselves. But certainly worthy of a conversation. So I'm going to make a note to have it at our next ED meeting as part of our agenda. Go ahead, Leah.
Thank you. To speak to the issue of accessibility, I see it in a couple of different ways. I'm with Division of Vocational Rehab. So for those of you who may not know, we work with individuals who have disabilities and are preparing for work or wanting to get a job or advance in employment. I want to say when it comes to outreach, I mean, most of my experience is with the Oahu folks personally. I can tell you there's a lot of info sharing, between DVR and the Oahu AJC through Andrea. Lei, I know I can pick up the phone anytime and call. We have regular meetings to talk about what's working and what's not working. Our counselors share information about the American Job Center with our consumers, so they know where they are and how to access them. We have staff actually co-located at some of the AJCs at least. I know for sure on Oahu. And we also happen to put on our DVR website, proud partner of the AJC network. So that's another thing that people can do with their websites. The other way that I think about accessibility is when it comes specifically to disabilities, individuals with disabilities. And I want to say that when the Oahu AJC moved locations to their current location, they specifically reached out to us and said, hey, we want to make sure that our new office is accessible to people with disabilities. And so I was so pleased with that we had the opportunity to have staff, specifically even, some of our blind staff, go there. Can they find it? Is there good transportation to get there? And there was. Sometimes there are issues that come up, related, especially to individuals trying to access who are blind or deaf, hard of hearing. And I think for the most part, those are handled by the AJCs. But if they ever do come up, then those are issues that we discuss together. And DVR also offers ourselves as a resource to the AJCs to do training specifically related to disabilities and things like that. So I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, I'll turn it over to Keith. I know we touched on a few of the questions that were going to come up anyway, but I'll leave it to you. Thank you.
I was going to say that exactly. And for everybody, we'll just go back and forth with each of these subject areas. But the next section, we want to cover public perception. So I'll ask both of these questions back to back, and this is mainly for the AGCs in particular, or at least initially. So number one, how is your AJC perceived by the local community, and what feedback have you received? And then the second part is, what steps can we consider to change those perceptions, negative, if any, and highlight the value of your service? So, and in the interest of time, we want to get to the section in about 5 or so minutes. Raymond, Kevin, Lei, Nalani.
For Maui, overall, it's been positive. We're trying to change that mindset that coming through or asking for services, AJC services, isn't a negative thing or punitive. And WIOA is voluntary, so we want to acknowledge and thank them for wanting to seek services and walking through this to the door. Our WDD partners, our staff is amazing, although, that is required to come through our UI recipients. But we've got staff that really treat individuals like an individual, not a number, not an application or a UI application. And so Kamalu can add to that because she's there, but when I'm there, this is what I witness. And, anything that we can do to change negative perceptions, continue to share success stories. We have our own superstar, Kevin Aki, on the WDC video. We can continue to share that or even update success stories and share that. So, mahalo.
Thank you.
And I'll just add on to what Chantal just said. It's not a negative perception. It's actually the awareness that people are very surprised on the services that we provide. And if you come to Maui American Job Center, we celebrate each community member that we have the blessing of helping and getting into their programs. We're their cheering squad. We are there to support them and help them follow through. So here on Maui, it's more of a big awareness that we exist. And this is the experience you are walking out with. Tell your friends, your families, your mother, your father, and your neighbors. We are here to help. And we love what we do. And I think the passion with the staffing comes across to the clients that walk through our doors. It's a true e komo mai. You are now our ohana, and we will follow through what we need to do to help you.
Thank you. Any others want to share or has it been said?
She said it all.
How about from other members of the or others attending the meeting? Any other comments, observations? Okay, great. Well, with that, then we'll move on to the next section. This is community engagement.
Okay. So for community engagement, I know we touched on a lot of that already. So just any additional comments like specific to these questions. How do you engage with local communities and stakeholders to promote your AJC? And what partnerships have been most beneficial for your AJC, and how can we replicate these partnerships across other locations? And so two things I kind of want to pull out, like initially from earlier, was a library partnership, and then also like co-logoing, like adding proud partner, like how Leo was saying, proud partners of the AJC, like more opportunities of that. Signage, but outside of that, I'll turn it over to you for additional comments about this community engagement.
I would like to speak more about the libraries if I can, Dion. So we started our partnership with the libraries back in February. In this fiscal year, what we aim to do as a enhancement to that partnership is we're going to be convening focus groups of specific job seekers, like for instance, dislocated workers, veterans, to offer an opportunity to have intimate conversations, to get to understand what their needs are, so that we can enhance our services. And so that's our next step for the libraries. We know that there are 3 libraries that we really had the most success in encountering, and those libraries are Macaulay, Kalihi Palama, which our recruiter Lisa is there on Saturdays, and then Aiea. libraries. These are three. So we're going to start with those libraries and have these focus groups, and we hope to expand them to the 10 that we have. So we're looking forward to that.
Oh, look forward to that too. I live out in Kapolei, and then I know somebody out at the Waianae Public Library. So.
Annette.
Chair, Haile, thank you so much for all the work on the libraries. You have 13 libraries, right? That are
10.
10. Okay. I'm wondering whether other counties are also exploring this possibility. Have you guys started to kick the
Yeah.
tires a little bit about this idea? If
Thank
I
you
may,
for-
yeah.
Yeah, thank you for asking. Back a few months ago, Layla Shar and Carol Kanayama asked me to connect them up with the administration, the executive team of the libraries, and I did. That is, I hooked them up with Stacy and Stacy. I'm not sure where that has taken off to. But we know that that's been a really great place in the community to be. So we're everywhere from Wamanalo out to Waianae to Kalipalama, Mo'ili'ili. So, and they're the ones, Stacy and Stacy were the ones that offered those 10 libraries so we could have the most comprehensive island-wide reach as possible. We're also in the prisons now. I want to just quickly mention that, where we're actually in there working alongside our outreach team. And we had 3 potential enrollments from the women's recently. And these women are going to be starting the apprenticeship program with the carpenters. So they're really excited. We're really excited to offer our support. Thank you.
So, if I may say a few words. So for some of the outreach efforts, I think on the Big Island, and Kevin jump in, I wanted to add that some of the work that's being done by the partners, being Workforce Development, Goodwill Industries. So we do several projects. Seniors, we do the senior, so the rounds are coming around where when school starts, we are in the schools meeting with the senior class. They do senior events. So we're targeting the seniors that'll be graduating in 2025. So we're doing that on a yearly basis at all the high schools. We also are targeting the older Americans because statistics show that is the high population that are coming back into the workforce, unfortunately. Instead of enjoying retirement, they are having to work to help subsidize their employment. So thankfully, Workforce Development has CSEP program. But not only that, we're able to target and outreach to the different senior centers or McDonald's where they hang out or the various projects. But this was a big thing because of the number that we saw coming in for employment. So we started to outreach to them as well. And then Lay also mentioned about Justice Involved. That is a very big push with our Justice Involved community being part of the Going Home Consortium, Career Pathways Committee. And through that involvement, we are working with judiciary, drug courts, probation officers, intake centers. So much so that with the help of Workforce Development, federal bonding, we were able to get our RAC cards, our information regarding the American Job Centers into the jails, Halava, all the different jail systems where upon exiting incarceration, they are given a packet that includes all of the information of the American Job Centers and employment and educational opportunities, as well as some other things. So, and then also for the Big Island, we saw a very high number of individuals who are accessing the American Job Center here are our UI claimants. And so Goodwill Industries does outreach. They put a table outside of the unemployment office And so they are targeting to build their dislocated worker numbers. So they are right there here at unemployment, engaging with the individuals who are coming in for unemployment benefits. So that was a win-win to boost their dislocated numbers. And UI was very open here in Hilo to allow that. So just wanted to add that as far as outreach efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. So Kathy has a question here.
I just wanted to make a comment. I had reached out, or I went recently to a conference. Am I sideways, guys?
Yes.
My computer is very strange today. Hold on. Okay. I went to a conference recently for the AFL-CIO, and I believe it was, I think it was Idaho, but their workforce development council had partnered with the trades, and they had made commercials to put out mainly in I think it was in the high schools, but they made commercials and they had partnered up with the trades to send them to get them to go to the apprenticeship programs. And they were reporting on how the response was really good. I have reached out to them to ask them for more information, the specific person who talked about it, but I haven't heard back yet. If I do, I'll send more stuff on to Dion, but they said it was successful there.
Kathy.
The last thing I wanted to ask, are there brochures?
May's nodding yes.
Yes, we have brochures for all of our programs.
Okay, thanks.
Kathy, just so you know, we're in touch with the executive director of Idaho. I can, in fact, set up a meeting just specific for this.
Good, great,
Okay?
thank you.
Thanks, Kat. So I know we're a little after quarter after the hour, and I'm gonna turn it over back to Keith for the next set of questions.
Okay, thank you. Next thing we want to touch on is marketing strategies. And if we don't quite get through everything, perhaps you could consider another meeting before our next full council meeting. But this is all great information. So marketing strategies, an area a bit up my alley. I'll read through the questions and then summarize. But first, what marketing strategies have you implemented to increase awareness of your AJC? How effective have social media, community events, and other marketing tactics been in attracting clients? And what innovative marketing strategies or ideas can we explore to better reach our target audience? So basically, what's been effective as far as tactics, or what innovative approaches do you think could be effective? If anybody wanted to jump in.
I'll share, Chair. We've talked about already media outreach, but so I wanted to add to that. What we come to understand is if we want to engage people, we have to identify us outside of our government titles. So we're known as Job Resource Specialist 3 or an employment consultant, but we've replaced that with recruiter. So that's our outreach workers. So we have recruiters. We call ourselves recruiters. Instead of employment consultant, we call ourselves talent engagement managers. So really making it be more aligned to industry, right? Wherein with private employment agencies, they're talent acquisition individuals and so forth. So what it does, it uplifts the staff to look at themselves differently, right? You're a manager, the talent is the customer, and you're engaging to help them manage their career pathway, right? For the youth, it's career pathway counselor, I believe, right? For our youth, it's so important that we put them on a pathway, whether they come to us with a high school diploma or not. So in essence, we're changing the way that we perceive ourselves, how we present ourselves to our two community members in a way that's engaging and not so governmental, if you know what I mean. So I wanted to share that with you.
If I can jump on board with that, Lay, spot on. And then also to add that opening up the American Job Centers to people in the community. So, and Doug, not sure if you knew about this, but hey, it was approved. But we have foster youth. We have the foster youth programs come into the American Job Center. They do first aid and CPR classes in the evening. Not all the time, but once in a while, because we want our transitioning foster youth to get some, services as well. And so tonight we have another, they're using one of the rooms at the American Job Center. So I'll be going there, sitting in the meeting. Again, this is with a foster youth population. So I think it's important that we are allowing other community resources to utilize on a case-by-case basis, because that brings awareness about the services at the American Job Center. So we see more foster youth, or we see more justice involved, or we see more youth using the services when you open it up and allow people. And sometimes it might start free of charge, of course, until you can get them in as a partner, a bona fide partner. But I think there has to be that give and take in our community.
To add on to Lei, how effective is the marketing strategies? We've seen numbers hike a lot compared to last year. For the adult, we've seen 187% increase of participant enrollment. And for dislocated worker, we see 142% compared to last year. So numbers are, last year was 125 for adults. Right now we're seeing, this is as of June, it might have increased a little bit more, but for adults, 359 for this program year. For dislocated worker, we've seen 38 last year. This year, we're looking at 92 dislocated workers. And youth, this is kind of low compared to this year. But, last year was 70. But right now we're seeing reporting as 46. So right now youth needs a little help in getting enrollments in. But whatever our service provider doing, it's working, because that's a really huge increase in terms of participant enrollment into the American Job Center.
Is anybody using social media in those efforts? I'm seeing a few nodded head.
Yes, for sure. We have social media for both, for all of our programs. But I also wanted to add that, and this was almost a year and a half in making, we've extended our business hours as of March 1st. So now we're open. So traditional government hours, Monday through Friday, 7:45 to 4:30. We are now Monday through Saturday, 7:45 to 6:30, with our resource center being open from like 8:30 to 6, I believe. And on Saturdays, our resource center is actually downstairs at the ground floor of the food court, because there's no AC, and our 7th floor, the office building is locked. So that has, the increase in hours just makes us more accessible. And I tell you, I saw a gentleman who one day I was coming down to my office. He looked like he was coming from his building trades job, because he's he's with his construction clothing on, and he was coming in to take care of something he needed to do on HireNet. And so it's going to pick up once we get the commercials and the media campaign going. I know it will pick up, and we'll be able to help more of those individuals who can't get to us during traditional government hours. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Share. Yeah, more along the lines of establishing a foundation of a baseline, because at this time we really were, this is all anecdotal as far as what does our community know about us. Is there a way, and you're the PR expert, where we need to establish that baseline of understanding and then maybe a year later compare that baseline so that then you really would be standing on solid ground and saying all these efforts that we're doing actually had made a difference? How do you parse that, Chair?
Seems to me this would be a possible solution could be to do an omnibus survey that could be done very economically, using one of the many marketing firms in Hawaii, where we could ask a few key questions statewide, and then come back a year and then maybe a year after that, to see what the trends are, whether they're going in the right direction or not. But again, an omnibus survey done. Perhaps it's something that WDC could consider doing on behalf of all the AJCs. Again, it can be done statewide. I know of at least two local marketing firms who could do this very economically. I mean, I think it's a matter, well, we could explore that possibility, but I think that could be very effective to provide a baseline in a year. Have we improved, or what have we improved, what the trends are, and then another year after that.
I think you have a raised hand from Kathy, Chair.
Kathy, yes, thank you.
I was just curious, would we be able to do a survey of the people that we just onboarded, that was just reported, the many people that just got onboarded? Could we do a survey on them on how they were introduced, or how they were made aware of us?
That sounds like a great idea. Could be done very simply. There's something like SurveyMonkey, or follow it up with a focus group for those who'd be interested in participating.
Yeah, so I'd like to make it a more uniform approach. So perhaps, again, this is something for the EDs to consider, so that then whatever questions are asked of one local area would be the same for the rest. So, but I've made a note of that, Kathy, as a follow-up action.
Annette, hi, Chantel, and to also look at the surveys that we currently have at the AJC. We should make that a unified one too.
Okay.
And then I know our subrecipients do annual surveys, and at discharge too.
Okay, so the surveys are at discharge, at like an exit interview of some sort.
Correct.
Okay. I think that might be a separate meeting just on the survey alone, because I think we need to standardize it across the board.
Agreed.
But I think the important point, Chair, is to establish a baseline of understanding, so we can always, again, spot the trends with all the efforts. And I really appreciate all the various AJCs who have, done everything, or within their realm of possibilities to increase the activity.
And with that, I really want to be respectful of everyone's time. We're approaching the bottom of the hour. I think this discussion's been proven to be valuable and deep, so maybe we should consider another meeting at the next opportunity to continue, maybe hit on innovative practices, collaboration, and next steps, which I think actually go together. But unless there are any other final comments, we can move on to our next section on the agenda. Thank you again for everybody who's participated so far. In the next section, I think what we wanted to do is actually for our executive director, if there are any reports or updates.
Yeah, sure. And it's going to be very quick because and again, to be respectful of everyone's time, I just wanted to highlight some of the things that we are working on. We are in the midst of trying to make sure that we have the implementation portion of the unified plan. There's a plan to gather the various stakeholders in our community so that it really becomes an integrated approach. So it's not just sitting in, a shelf somewhere waiting for the next unified plan to be developed. So we're hoping to do that. As you know, or many of you know, effective July 1st, there was a transition. So we're working towards that transition and hopefully be able to come up with a transition plan very shortly. We have upcoming events. We continue to do training for our board members. We're going to have an economic trends seminar in July, but depending on our administrative capacity, we might push that back to August. But just wanted to make everybody excited about the future of work 2024, which we hope to do in September, because September is Workforce Development Month. We're also launching the Workforce Development Heroes, and I know Denise was a nominee for the Big Island for the Workforce Development Heroes. So we're going to have that program as well for this year. I'm also part of a long-term care workforce task force. It's really, I think many of us know that with the graying of America and the fact that we don't have the birth rate is low, that the big inevitable question is who's going to take care of our kupunas. So there is a task force that's focused on this, and it's actually very meaningful work. And for those of you who may be interested, please give me a call and reach out, because we're making some good inroads on that. We are focused on so many things for this next quarter, but I think the last one there is really improving the American Jobs Center's performance. The reason why we had asked the local boards to share some of the financial, the fiscal information is because I think if we are able to improve our American Job Centers, the spending will also follow, and we're able to ensure that the monies that are appropriated are spent accordingly to what it was intended for. But lastly, Chair, I just want to share and mahalo everyone who are working at our American Job Centers. I know you have, it's not easy. We're not discounting that. And we want to make sure that you know that you're appreciated. But we hope to work closely with you, because some of those outcomes, I think we all recognize and acknowledge that they need to improve. But again, this is an environment where we need to work together, closely together, hand in hand, so that we can achieve the results that we would like. Chair, go ahead. I'm done. Thank you. Any questions?
Yep, any questions? Okay, if not, we do want to make sure we have time for public testimony. So at this time, the public is welcome to announce upcoming events and comment on relative issues that were not included in this meeting's agenda. Please be advised that in compliance with Sunshine Law, the committee cannot discuss or act on issues that were not included on the agenda, but issues raised during this period may be included in future agenda for the committee's consideration. So we ask that comments be limited to 2 minutes for each speaker. Are there any comments, testimony? Okay, see none. Then what we'll do is we'll note that the next scheduled meeting is October 22nd at 1 p.m. via Zoom and room TBD within the DLIR building. That being said, we'll look into scheduling a part 2 of this meeting, pending availability in everyone's calendars. And if there's no further business, we'll adjourn. The time is 11:34 a.m. And with that, thank you all for your participation. Great discussion today.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Aloha, everyone.
Aloha.
Aloha.